Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about Indeed advertising, to paying to advertise your job posts on Indeed, what it costs basically, and how to maximize your investment into the advertising that you're going to do of your job post. You know, basically pay more for more better quality applicants, or just more applicants in general. Also, specifically, what are the techniques that you're going to use to get the best ROI out of the system, i.e., because we're all looking for the best applicants we can for the cheapest pay, which is also a consideration when we're trying to decide how much we're going to invest into the advertising to get a job applicant in the first place. Because there's definitely a formula to this. The more you pay, as per what most people will think and do, the more I pay to advertise and look for a job applicant, the better the applicant I'm going to get, the more money I'm going to make in my business. The reality is, it comes down to more than just what you're paying. It's how you're actually posting the job. There's specific techniques I found through my own business and the clients that I work with that run Indeed ads and ads in general that get the best result from their posts. So yes, you want to advertise your job post because you'll get more results quicker. You'll have the person you want quicker. You'll have the right person that you want overall. And you'll get it for less money pumped into ads on Indeed that overall, so to say. And you'll make more money in your business in general because you paid a low amount of money getting the right person, and that person ended up being highly productive and ended up making more money because of that itself as well. So there's many kind of different individual considerations here when you're deciding if you're going to spend money on the ads. The short answer is yes, you want to do it. Yes, you want to invest in the ads. But there's other things that you should do to make sure you get the highest return possible as well. Indeed's basically the biggest job site, and with their advertising program that they have, where you have a no nonsense approach where you post and maybe people that you want to hire will see it, maybe they won't. This guarantees the people that you want to see it if that person's actively looking online for a job. Obviously, there's other ways to hire people, like trying to go poach your competitors' employees, which, by the way, if you go ahead and do that, that's not a panacea in and itself, because people that are willing to jump ship over to you probably aren't the best employees. Why? Because once that employee goes to their employer saying that they're going to work somewhere else, if they're actually a good employee, they're going to say, well, what do I have to pay you to stay? If they don't want that employee, they'll say, okay, see you later, and then you get to take on their problem. A lot of people don't think about that necessarily, whereas if you find somebody on a job site, yes, that person's kind of so-called damaged goods. If they're looking for a job and they don't have a job per se, so does the thought, then why do you want them? But on the other hand, there's a lot of businesses who can't handle a good employee. They can't treat them right. They don't have the right management systems. They don't have the right systems in general in place. And they look for a better job even though they're a great employee, so they get into a better environment that better caters to and attracts better employees. And then that's the opportunity you have with LinkedIn ads, or LinkedIn. It's Indeed ads, sorry. Drawing a blank here. So anyway, I'll go through all these individual requirements and thoughts that you should have as you're posting your job on Indeed and then advertising it. So getting into the content, Indeed ads is a decent way to hire people, especially when you're in a hurry, because most of the time you're like everybody else that wants to run any kind of ad online, not even just for a job, it's to hire someone itself or whatever. You do things at the last second when you really, really need it. You don't go looking for somebody before you need the person. And you can get somebody hired quickly because all the people that are going to the top job site will be able to see your job post if you're advertising it. With the right language that you have on your ad, we've found that you could hire somebody in 3 to 7 days. Depends on how rare the skill is that you need, because there's some people that, for instance, if you're hiring a person that could prescribe medical marijuana prescriptions, well, there's only a small sub-segment of people who even want that job specifically, and you're not going to get somebody in 3 to 7 days probably anyway, unless you're hiring nationally. So, but for the average job, 3 to 7 days, you spend about $500 on advertising through the Indeed platform, and you can find somebody. The more, basically, in terms of the salary of the person that you're hiring, the more higher the salary that is, the more you're going to basically have to pay to hire somebody with how Indeed set up their advertising now. And which makes sense because ultimately you're only going to pay so much to hire somebody of so much that it can only deliver so much value to your business. There's only so much that's there that you could give for that type of person. Versus somebody who's going to make you a bunch of money, you could pay a lot more to hire them. So it used to be that they had a pay-per-click system. Now it's you pay per applicant. And the cost per application is based upon how much value that person's going to basically bring your business. To keep it simple, there's a lot of other factors there, but that's the main thing that drives the whole pricing of the cost per applicant that you're going to have to pay to advertise your job post on Indeed to get it more eyeballs on it so that it always stays at the top of the list when somebody's looking for a job in the area that you're offering employment in. So with that said, the best way to get the best result when you're going to pay to promote your job, or even if you were posting on a free listing, it would be the same concept. There's certain ways to get the best applicant for the least amount of money that you're having to put into the Indeed system to advertise the job post. And one of which is that you do the posting with the minimum 15% above market rate of pay that other people are paying specifically on Indeed itself, but also in the market in general as a whole. And that means posting a range of pay is fine, but don't use words up to, because people aren't as dumb as you think they are. I see a lot of people out there trying to say, we pay up to $52,000 a year. I could get a chick to go on a date with me as hot as or up to Angelina Jolie. Doesn't mean I'm going to get it. This is language that a scammer uses. Up to, don't do this stuff. People that you want to hire that are smart are not stupid. And you're going to, do you want the dumbest people to apply? Maybe you do, I don't know. But anyway, you posting a range of, we pay between $7 and $17 an hour, that's fine. But at least the person knows that if I spend the time and effort to apply for this job, I'm not going to end up making dog shit. So I'll invest the time to apply for this job. And they'll probably know the 17's bullshit. They're not going to get that, but at least they'll know you're willing to pay $7. So that's an important thing for people. You got to think about it. Put this shoe on the other foot here. If you were applying for this job, what would you want to do? And the more people that are willing to apply for your job, the less that you're going to pay for an application through Indeed's paid posting advertising system, because that's how that's part of their algorithm as well. So how could you make your job as the most attractive so you get per time someone sees your job post, you get more people applying than other people, which drives down your cost per application to as low as it can get. So that's the first thing that job applicants itself want from you, to get a high application per view rate. Also, list what the job is really like. I see a ton of people, and this is a function of hiring somebody else to do the job post writing for you, who doesn't give a rat's ass whether or not you find somebody or not, or if you save any money. I write all the job listings for our own agency itself for a good reason. I want people, I know what the in-person looking for the job wants. They want to know what this job is really like. Not work in a fast-paced environment with great management. Like, this is the type of shit that people also do in their advertisement other places, and why people hate ads. It doesn't tell you jack shit about the job. And so if you're trying to sell, you're always trying to sell them on, please apply. We want you to apply. And when you be generic like that, it says, I don't know if I should apply or not. You explain specifically, at this job, what it entails is you get to sit in a chair all day, and it's a copy and paste type of job where it's low stress because you don't really have bubble. You speak specifically of the job, not generalities. That's going to get more people to want to apply that actually open up your job. And then finally, not asking too many damn questions. the people that, so to give you an equivalent of this, I'm an advertising manager. I help people's advertisements on other platforms as well as on Indeed, which is just another advertising platform, get the maximum amount of bang for your buck out of your ad spend. The more people that are willing to contact the company or buy from the company that I represent, the more money that they're going to make, given it costs so much to run the ads. It's the same thing on Indeed as I was explaining a minute ago. So if you send somebody to a website and they have to fill out a contact form in order to get a plumbing service or whether to get a sales training service, whatever it is, the more questions you ask on that contact form, the less the amount of people that are going to fill it out. It's directly proportional. You ask 3 questions, you're going to get slightly less. You ask 4, you're going to get a little less. You ask 5, you're going to get even less. So what's the least amount of questions you could get away with asking without, making an overwhelming amount of applications come through your door? In reality, I don't ask any questions or ask anything from the user to apply on my job post because I want the maximum applications I could get for the cheapest cost per application, and I will weed through them myself for the most part because I don't want to be paying 2 or 3 times the cost per application to advertise that job post so that I don't have to ask them 5 or 10 different questions, because that's what kind of effect it's going to have on your cost per application if you go ahead and you try doing that kind of shit. So keep it to a bare minimum what you're asking them to do. Make it so easy to apply, almost everybody will just basically apply. So those are the 3 things that the user, the biggest effect on driving down your cost per application. Okay, you're going to pay $500 to $200 per application based upon what market you're in. You're hiring minimum wage grunt workers, $5 an application. You're hiring the weed doctor who needs to prescribe weed, marijuana prescriptions. You're paying $200 an app, and you probably obviously fall somewhere in between those numbers. So, but what you're charged per application comes down to what Indeed thinks that they can milk from your company or for your wallet itself. They want to charge. The reason why they even switched from a pay-per-click model to a pay-per-application model is because they want to be able to get the maximum value they can get from you, the person who's willing to advertise, and they know that you'll pay more if the person's worth more to you. So they look at what it is you're hiring for and then charge you more based upon that alone. That's why they switched over to the system for the most part, as far as what I've seen. With that, they're still trying to make as much money, and there's only so many people they could promote. It doesn't pay if you want to. You're already going to be paying a high price if you're hiring a higher end person to begin with. It doesn't pay to post to not do the stuff I already mentioned, like posting no or low pay requirements or beating around the bush, because you're just going to drive up the cost per application, cost per acquisition of your people that you're hiring, an unnecessary amount when it's not that much extra work to weed through the applications on your own, on the HR end of things. And ultimately, if you're trying to get away with paying somebody a very low amount, I can't blame you for trying to get a good value from your people. But basically, look, low pay means wasted apps that you're paying for. You're going to basically get the people that are the best people. If you're posting a low pay requirement, you're going to get the worst people applying. Then you're going to end up having to not hire them. So your cost per, your labor cost is low, but you're paying so much more to find the person. So obviously that's a major issue in and itself. But when you post low pay requirements, the good people aren't going to apply. And so as a ratio of the applicants you are paying for, you're going to have a lot of liars coming through. Because if you're asking for a whole hell of a lot, you need a master's degree with 10 years of experience, we're paying $15 an hour, you're going to get a lot of bullshitters also coming through. You think, oh, I hit the jackpot. I got all these applicants from all these people that have this, this good experience. Newsflash, a bunch of people just lie. They say they got experience that they don't, and of course it's at a company that shut down, and you can't contact them to verify that. There's many ways to lie. So you're not fooling anybody. You think you're getting over on them, they're actually getting over on you. So from my perspective, trying to hire somebody that you're basically trying to find somebody who doesn't know their own value, that doesn't provide any value to you in the long run, because once they understand their value, what their value is, which they're going to do at some point, they're just going to drop, you're going to lose them anyway. So why even do that? But if you're trying to pay a low amount, by the way, you can do that. You just have to be able to make up for it on the management side, because the two main things that people quit in the first place is the pay is low for what I'm doing especially, and then I hate my managers. So if you can figure out how to have good managers, you have a toxic manager and you can get rid of them, well, you can pay less. So that's something so you can figure out how to pay less if you figure out how to make it a better experience for the worker. But anyway, so if you do the crappy stuff that everybody else does to makes it really opaque what you're offering and how you're offering it and so forth, you're going to pay more for an application. So instead of paying $10 for an application, you may pay $50 for an application. Or if it's bad enough, your post is unattractive enough, you could actually have the system stop promoting your application at all, and you're just going to have to post another job. I see other people doing this. Oh, Indeed stopped pushing our application, so I have to post another one. Well, dummy, make the job posting better. Make it... But they don't think about it because, frankly, they don't know. They don't know that they have to do this extra work to make the post attractive and understand how the algorithm works, which is fundamentally they want people to like and come back, the workers that want jobs to come to Indeed's platform. And if they only promote the shittiest jobs with the shittiest postings, people will be so frustrated they'll stop coming to Indeed. They'll apply somewhere else. So you're only going to get away with so much crap on your job posting to begin with if nobody's clicking and applying. When you're paying on a per application basis, they'll just weed you out and you won't be shown anymore. So there's a certain minimum amount of action you have to take just to make sure that Indeed will even take your money, because they'll try to jack up what you're paying per application to make up for it, but at a certain point they'll just won't run your job posting anymore. So anyway, that's something else to consider here. Now, like I said, most of you that are looking for somebody to hire, I just thought I would add my 2 cents in here. Don't blame me if you're offended. Again, this is just some extra thoughts for some of you guys. Most of you guys just need to find out in the first place why people are quitting. And exit interviews, you're not going to get it out of somebody. You need to find somebody that looks like you can have as a corporate espionage person that gets a job, talks to the coworkers, ask them what they don't like about the job and what they do like. And what they don't like, you got to fix that. And again, usually it's, I don't like my manager, or the pay is not enough commensurate to what I'm being asked to do. And then you go ahead and fix that, and you don't have to worry about even spending money to advertise your job post, because you basically have little to no turnover. And you don't have to pay the cost of onboarding the person, which is totally eclipses the cost of the advertising. It costs somewhere between 1 and 6 months of that person's pay / salary, just in terms of their inefficiency they're going to have to your business, having to onboard and train them, directly paying other people to help them out. Plus, they're just less efficient than they're going to be than if they were already in your business for a year plus already and know everything inside and out and are efficient at what you're needing and asking them to do. So, and you can verify that yourself. Just see what it costs to onboard an employee. It's easier just to fix the so-called holes in your systems, your retention systems, than to keep trying to post jobs and bring people on. At a certain point, obviously, you can't prevent what's going on. You're going to have to hire some people, but a lot of you guys are not fixing the holes in the system. And again, I know because I work with tons of different business owners, and I tell them and I say, ultimately, you're not paying enough. What you're paying, at least for what you're trying to lay the law down and get them to do, is not, there's not a match there. You want to pay what everybody else is paying, but you also want to do this, and this, and then they're leaving. And this has happened. This is not 1 or 2 people. This is 5, 10 people already. You got to either pay more or you got to ask them to do less. Your pick. And eventually it's happened enough that they'll eventually, break down and realize they've got to change something and nothing else is going to change. So, and then also good management or higher pay, one or the other, will keep B or C players at your business. So if you aren't looking for A players, B or C players are okay. You can actually keep them, but usually just by having the really, really, really good management and, you know, job environment, or you can have pay where they're going to be able to make at least 15% more than where they're going to make anywhere else. So, because you ultimately hear all the time, people say, they don't pay me enough to do X, Y, and Z in terms of people with jobs and so forth. That's irrelevant. You know, what is specifically relevant is, can that person quit today and get another job within the next 6 months that pays what you pay them? And if the answer is no, you have leverage. You have the ability to ask them to do stuff they may not want to do once in a while, or conform to some policies that you'd like them to conform to. If they can say, I can replace your job with another job in a week or two, you have no leverage. You can't expect much of anything from that worker at the end of the day in today's job environment. So you got to figure out, if you're trying to not do the management and environment end, you got to figure out what that person could be paid out there and be able to figure out how to be efficient enough as a company to pay them 15% more than that. Because if you don't, you're going to have high churn and you're going to have low compliance from your employees that you're hiring. And it's not that, certainly the best employee versus the shittiest employee is more than 15% difference in efficiency between them two. So paying them 15% more than what they can get a job elsewhere at for that particular person, there's no reason not to do that. So, and then obviously on the management side, a lot of you guys, there's one toxic manager that if you really want retention, you got to get rid of that manager, because that's where your problem is. And it's hard for you to say, it's hard. That manager is nice to you. Doesn't mean they're nice to the employees though, or they know how to manage well. So you can keep a B or C player usually by either paying more than they get anywhere else, or having good management and good environment that they get comfortable at, and that they like. You could keep them because of that. One or the other. If you want A players though, this one or the other isn't going to really cut it, as far as I've seen with my other clients' businesses. You're going to need actually both. You got to fix. They want to be able to be paid for their expertise because they're A players, and they don't want to put up with any bullshit. If you make them put up with bullshit, they'll get somebody else to pay them what they're worth somewhere else, because everybody else also wants A. Or should I say, there's enough people that want A players and they know how to sell themselves because they are an A player. You're not going to keep them. So do you need, is B or C players good enough for many businesses and many positions? It is good. Have good management, have good pay, one or the other. For A players, you got to step your game up a little bit more. So anyways, to sum all this up on the Indeed advertising, the average person, the average market, you should pay about $500 in advertising cost to hire somebody. You can drive that $500 cost down by doing the tips I gave you here to get more people to apply per time that the posting that you have for your job will show up for that person. Versus you could go up in cost if you do all the bad things that job seekers hate seeing from you. And the cost of what Indeed charges is really nothing, and you could use Indeed all day long for every single job you need from now on if you just plug the holes in your business of why most people are quitting right now, with raising your pay slightly, or getting rid of a shitty toxic manager who doesn't know how to treat people or has ego issues. There's a lot of different reasons why managers aren't good managers. They might be able to do what the job of what they're doing physically, of the people that are supposed to be managing, and understand that, but they're not a leader. They aren't good at leading people. So you got to have both to have an actual good manager. So anyway, I'll pretty much wrap it up with that. Hopefully that put things into reference for you if you're considering Indeed ads and paying per application on Indeed ads in their platform, about what the costs are and so forth, how to get the most value out of it. If you like my video, I have a ton of other videos on this channel about advertising and making money with online ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, and so forth. So if you want to make more money in your business, a lot more, by running ads for your business, this is the channel for you. You should definitely should subscribe. And you could go to my site, guaranteeppc.com/blog. I also have written content that shows you how to make money on a guaranteed basis to get customers/clients at your business using these same ad platforms. I'd appreciate it if you liked the video and got a lot of value out of it, to give it a thumbs up. And beyond that, if you're looking for somebody to help you run your Indeed ads, to get the full value out of this, like I was talking about, or just run ads for your company where you can get guaranteed sales coming through your ads, reach out to my firm at guaranteeppc.com just guaranteeppc.com. And I'd be happy to look at what you're selling, what you're doing, and try to come up with a plan for your business to sell that through using online ads. This is what I only specialize in here. And can do it without charging you a fee up front until you get a certain amount of sales increase with your investment up front, because that's what we specialize here at my advertising firm. So we don't work with just anybody. If you have a great product or service that has everything down besides the advertising, we want to work with you though. So reach out to me. I'd be happy to look at your stuff, give you some estimates as to what the possibilities are with it though. And with that, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in my next video where we have another great strategy for you then. See you later.